Let's quickly summarize on what we have learned yesterday. Then we'll get into the today's topic. So with yesterday's class, our demo sessions were completed. So from today, we'll have our actual class. We'll get into SAP. We'll work on it. So we request you to please complete your enrollment or registration because only after then you'll be receiving your SAP accesses, and you can practice each and every class there and then, instead of keeping things for the next day. Okay. So first we have seen yesterday all the ABAP
Christian,
workbench.
reminder for recording. Reminder
Yeah,
for
it's
recording.
already being recorded. Yeah, it's being recorded. Okay. Yeah, I was saying the landscapes in SAP. First, development system. Second, quality system. Third is the production system. So in most of the companies, we'll only have these three systems. A few companies might have a regression testing, which is a secondary test system. So in development system, we will do all our developments, like we'll create our objects in development system. Then in quality system, we it is used to test our developed objects. Like after completing our development, we will test our developments in the quality system. Then finally, it is the production system, and in production system we will have the live data. That means all the transaction data of the business. So we have to make sure that we should not change anything in the production system. Once our testing is completed in the quality system, the changes or the developed objects will be moved to your production system. Then we have two categories of table objects. So object is nothing but anything, any development that you do in SAP is called as an object. So first is a local object, and second is a transportable object. So first, local objects cannot be moved to target systems. Like we mostly create them, for testing purposes only. Like if you want to practice something, only in that case we will create these local objects. And the transportable objects will have a transport request via which you can move these objects to target systems, either quality or production. Then difference between local and transportable objects. First, the local objects are created under a temporary package that is called as the $TMP. So here $TMP is the temporary package for your local object. Then transportable objects. So these transportable objects are saved under a TR or a transport request, right? So every time you create a transportable object, it will request for a TR. Then local objects, you don't need to create any TR. The system will not pitch for a TR if you select the local object. Whereas for a transportable object, system will ask for or generates a unique number of TR, unique TR number that under which your developed objects will be saved. Then your local object, since it doesn't have any TR, it cannot be moved to your quality and production system for a development system. Whereas since because of the existence of TR in transportable object, these can be moved to your quality and production systems. So local objects are created only for practice or testing purposes. Whereas to meet any of your client requirement, you will have to use a transportable object. Most of the cases, 90-95% of the cases, we will always create a transportable object. Barely whenever you want to test something out, test some small piece of code, only then we'll create some local objects. Then what is a package? So package is nothing but a folder which is used to save our objects, which is used to collect our objects. Like for example, in our desktop itself, whenever we want to save any files, we'll first create a folder in our PC, and inside that folder we will move our photos or videos or songs, etc. things, right? So similarly in SAP also, we'll have to create a folder inside which our developed object can be stored. So that is nothing but your package. Then we have three categories of packages. One is a local package or temporary package. Second is a standard package, which are delivered by SAP. Then final is the custom package. So under first one, the local package, it is used to save our files in a local object. Like for example, we're seeing here, right, $TMP. So whenever we use we use it we use a $TMP, it becomes a local package. Then we have standard packages, which are created and developed by SAP. And as an ABAPer, we should never change anything in the standard package, and also we should not capture any of our custom objects in the standard packages. So we should not save our objects in standard packages. System itself will not allow you to do it, but yeah, be very careful. We should not use standard packages. Then finally, custom package. So these packages are created by SAP people, like ABAP people, ABAP team, wherein all our developments are saved in this custom package itself. And at any given point of time, we can make any change to the this package which we create. Then transport request. So transport request or TR number. It is a unique number which is a system will generate whenever we want to create any transportable object, and this is only created in development system. We cannot create a TR in quality or production system. We can only create a transport request in development system. Then the order of the TR will be first. It will start with my development system ID. So here it's DE1, then followed by a K series number. So K will be common in every project. After K, we will have a unique number. That unique number will be decided by your system. Then types of transport requests. So first is a workbench request. Second is a customizing request. So in workbench request, uh, so workbench request is nothing but our ABAP related TR, wherein most of the development objects, be it a table, program, forms, etc., things are saved under the workbench request. So we ABAP team will mostly use the workbench requests, workbench TRs. Whereas the customizing TR will hold the configurational data or else a table entries, this kind of data, which is related to your functional teams. So ABAP team will work on mostly workbench requests and functional team will work on customizing requests. Then transaction codes, the most important topic in SAP. So without knowing the T code, we will not be able to navigate to any screens, right? So T codes are nothing but these shortcuts which are used to navigate to any screen, any object. If you want to see, like you have created a let's say table. For you to navigate to that table, first we'll have to give a T code which will take us to a screen. So from that screen, we can give the table name. We can see the table name. So all the T codes which are starting with SE followed by a number belongs to ABAP T codes. And if any T code which is starting with SM, these belong to your functional T codes. So basically system engineering and system maintenance. This means SE means system engineering, SM means system maintenance. Then types of transaction codes. First is a standard T code and second is a custom T code. So by this time, you must have gained the knowledge that anything that is standard should not be modified. If something looks like a standard, feels like a standard, we should never click on change on those objects, right? So similarly here, uh, standard transaction codes should not be changed, but we will reuse these transaction codes to navigate to these screens. For example, SE11. Take an example of. I'm just giving you example of one T code. SE11 is one of my T code. So by using that T code, if I want to navigate to a table, right? If I want to open that table, then I have to use this T code. But I will never change this T code. Okay. So similarly, we'll have other T codes too. Whereas your custom decodes are created by the ABAP team and these can be changed, modified, deleted as per the requirement. Like it's on our own will that we can do anything with these custom decodes. Then standard and custom objects. So standard objects are SAP delivered objects. Again, we should never ever change these standard objects. There are a few ways to enhance these, but we should not directly change these standard objects. Second is the custom objects. So we as SAP consultants will create these custom objects. We will create these, and we have full authorization to make any changes to these custom objects. Then the key question comes in: how can I identify whether my object or existing objects in the system, is it a standard or a custom package? Sorry, custom object. So any object which is starting with Y or Z, only these two letters, these are custom objects, right? Across the globe, all over the world, doesn't matter where you are sitting, which SAP version you are using. If your object name is starting with Y or Z, then it is a custom object. So even when we try to create any custom object also, we should start with either Y or Z. And among Y or Z, most of the companies out there, they use Z only as the naming convention. So throughout our session also, throughout our training course, all the objects that we are going to create, we will start these object names with Z, because we want to stick to the project standards. Right, then all the alphabets other than Y and Z, that means A up until X. So all the alphabets between A to X are reserved under SAP, and they can create object with any of starting with any of these letters. Right, if you see in the system, objects are starting with any letter between A to X. Those are your SAP objects. If not, those are your custom objects. So yeah, this was what we've discussed yesterday. Anyone has any doubt regarding yesterday's class? Okay, great. So this is a concept where which is shortcuts for the T codes. T code in itself is a shortcut, whereas but for T codes also, sorry for my voice, but for T codes also there are a few extensions or shortcuts that we can use. For example, /n plus T code name. Right? So as an example, let's say /n 11. Just as an example, I'll show you in system also what this S11 does and all. But for now, understand S11 is my T code. So here, if I give /n plus T code, then this will replace my existing session with new session. Right? So this will replace my existing session with a new session. That means if I'm already in a screen, take this PPT as my SAP screen for example, and here in the command bar, like if I'm giving the command as /n any T code name, then instead of this screen, I will get the new T code screen, right? So this will replace my existing session with a new session. Then the second extension is /n plus, sorry, /o plus T code. Take the same example, /o se11. So this will create a new session in SAP without replacing existing session. Right, this means if I'm in this PPT, this screen now, if I give /o se11, then without replacing this one, so this will be there, but instead another new session will be created in the SAP system. So that is the use of /o plus T code. Then we have /nex used to log out of our sessions. So we use this whenever we want to log out from all our sessions. So because let's say I have 4 or 5 sessions open here. Like for example, I have 4 or 5 PPTs open here. So normally to close all the things, I'll have to close individually each and everything na, from here. So instead of that in SAP, instead of closing individually all the ones, you can directly give the command as /nex which will terminate all our existing sessions, and you will be logged out of your SAP system. So if you want to again log in, you can go back and provide your credentials and log in back. So these are the three widely or mostly used shortcuts in T codes. So first, we'll use /n whenever we want to replace the existing session with a new session, and we'll use /o whenever we want to create a new session without replacing the existing session. We'll use /o. Then finally /nex. So here you will not give any T code. It's just /nex. So when you give /nex, it will take you out of the system. All your sessions will be will be closed, and you will be logged out of the system. So this is about this. Give me 1 minute. Let me just see if the server connection is established. Okay, I wanted to show the same thing in the system. So we were trying to create a new server for your team. The connection details are not yet established, so don't worry. By tomorrow it will be done. We'll show you the all these things in the system itself. Right. So then we'll go to. So with this, our introduction to all the chapters, like introduction to SAPs, will be completed. So next topic is called as a data dictionary. Uh, right, and first concept in data dictionary is table or database table. Right, we have already seen what is a table. Table is a object in SAP which is used to store our data in tabular format in the database. Right, it is used to store our data or information in a tabular format inside database. This is a definition of a table. So if you remember, I told you in ECC we'll have different categories of tables, but whereas in HANA we will only have one category of table, right? So that is in ECC. First I'll write ECC types of tables. First is a transparent table. Second is cluster table. Third is pooled table. So these are the three types of tables that we have in SAP. So first one is a transparent, then is a cluster, then is a pooled. So, but in HANA system, we will only have one category of table, that is a transparent table. We will not have cluster or pooled tables. So these two, I mean, the tables are existing in the system still, but the category of those is changed, right? So although, say, let's say ABC is a cluster table in my ECC system, so the same ABC table will be available in my HANA system also, but instead it will be a transparent table, right? So the tables will be there, but the category of the table is changed to transparent table. So this is in ECC, whereas in HANA system we'll only have one, that is transparent tables. There are no cluster and pooled tables. So what exactly is a transparent table? So transparent table is the table that we use mostly, like 90% of the time we'll use, not 90, I would say 98% of the time, 99% of the time we will only use transparent tables. So the reason to decommission these two is because we never ever create cluster or pool tables, right? So in my, throughout whole 10 years of my career, I've never created any cluster or pool tables till now. We'll never create those. So that is the reason these two are decommissioned. So transparent table will have a one-to-one relationship. That means, let's say, if I'm having some data in my database, right? So that data will be same in my database and also in the table. So don't get confused. So for example, let's say I'm having 10 entries in my transparent table. In my transparent table, I have 10 entries, 10 field, 10 like this. So take the example of this only. So think of this as my transparent table. This I have four entries, right? So these are my rows, these are my columns. So I have four entries in this, like that means four rows in this. So transparent tables acts like that. So in database, we will have the same concept, like we will have the same visualization that only four entries will be there in the database also. And even when I open my table from SAP, normally when if I want to see the data, I'll only have this much data, right? So this is corresponding to what I have in my database. Simply whatever that I'm seeing in my screen here is what that is there in the database also, right? It's a mirror, like similar, similar. But whereas your cluster or pool tables, we have multiple to one relationship. That means if I'm seeing this data, this in my screen, but in the database level, this will not be the similar way. This will be different, right? Three, four tables might be collated and being displayed in your screen. For example, this field will be from one table. All this column will be from one table. These columns will be one table. So if we have 10 columns, so 10 in from the 10 columns, two columns from one table, three columns from one table, four columns from one table, which is very complex. If you think while extracting the data or while pulling the data, this becomes a very complicated concept for the database. So that is the reason when we went to HANA system, when SAP went to HANA system, they've completely removed this confusing concept ki many to one table relationships, pulling the data from multiple tables at once. It's a very, very confusing concept. That is the reason these two are removed now. We will only have transparent tables. So in transparent tables, we will have one to one relationship. Everything that you see on screen will be what in the database also. Same, similar to the database, you will have it here. But cluster and pool tables, you will have any to one relationship. Right, anyhow, all our transparent tables in SAP system, sorry, HANA system. So we'll have same concept. We'll have one to one relationship. So even if you went into any support project wherein the existing system is an ECC system, you will never create a cluster or a pool table. You will always create a custom transparent table, right? You will never create a cluster table. So don't worry, even if you are not understanding this concept, it's completely cool. If these concepts are confusing because these concepts are not there at all in HANA systems. Um, right, so then we have a small concept called as a unique field relationship in the table. First, unique key fields, and second is a non-unique key fields. So by the name itself, it suggests, right? So this is the data that we dump in inside these unique key fields should be different. So we cannot have duplicate number of records in this unique key. I'll show you exactly with a example also. Let's say I have a table now. So think of this as my database table, wherein this is my employee information table, right? So here I'll have my first employee number or employee ID numbers. Then I'll have my employee name. Then I'll have the gender. Then I'll have mail ID. Okay. So this is a normal table that I'm having in my SAP system, which is a employee related table. Right. In this, I have four columns: employee number, employee name, gender, and mail ID. So at any given point of time, you know that the employee number should not be repeated, right? Means two employees cannot have a single employee number, correct? So for that reason, whenever we want to create such tables wherein one number should be unique among all the fields, that field or that column will make it as a unique key field or primary key. Clear? So this, since we don't want to have any duplicate data in my employee number, we will make this as a primary key. It's simple. We'll have a checkbox in the system. Once we check that checkbox, it becomes a unique field. So here, visible at all. Fine. So this is my, now this is, I made this as a primary key. So what it will help me to do is, so for example, let's say I have few employees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is one employee, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is one employee. Then again, if I try to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, system will throw an error saying that the employee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is already existing in the system. So you cannot add a new entry, right? So it will make sure my primary key field will make sure that there are no repetitive employee numbers in the system. That is the key relationship, primary key relationship. So I can have any number instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 now, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 is not there in the system already, so it will pick it. So it will make sure that it will only have unique number of data, right? So is it clear or confused? Anyone? Because this is a very important concept. Whenever we create any tables, we have to make sure that the relevant data should always be unique, and the non-relevant data which is to the business can be non-unique. Then I have some other value here, right? Again, this is a unique number because this is not repeating in the system. But when it comes to employee name can be repeated, right? So I have here Rahul Sharma. So instead of Rahul Sharma, now I can have another Rahul. Or wait, let me just put in another column here. Insert. So here instead of employee name, I'll make it as employee first name. So here I'll make as employee second name. So here I'll put Rahul. Here I'll put Sharma. Here I'll put again Rahul. I'll put middle. So if you see Rahul Sharma and Rahul Mittal. So here, since this is a non-key field, non-primary key field, I can put duplicate records here. I can have all Rahuls in my company. right? Because this is a non-unique field. One multiple people can have the same name, right? So in these cases, we cannot give a primary key relationship to this particular field because we know that for sure we will have repeated values in this particular column. So we will not make this as a primary key field. So we have to make only those fields as primary where we don't want a duplicate, entry. We don't want a duplicate entry, be it a number, be it an alphabet, be it an alphanumerical value. We'll only make it as a primary key when the duplicate entry is not needed in that particular column, that particular field. Only then it is primary. So here, since this is a non-primary key field, I can enter Rahul two times, Sharma Mittal two times. I can have another Rahul Sharma also. It's cool. When this will work because two people can have same name or same surname. So this will also work. So finally, I'll have Anjali Agarwal, right? Then gender male. Even this can be repeated, right? We can have same gender for multiple people. Male. Email ID is something 123 at the rate gmail.com something, right? Right. I just give some random email ID here. So, for example, this is the table if I've created in my system. So, whenever I try to put in a new entry now let's say this is an existing table in my system, and my functional team they want to add a new entry to this particular table. So, if they try to add it, if they try to add a new field here, let's say if they give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, and they'll give some other name, for example, Ruchika. So if they try to input this kind of data in here, then what it will do is, although it will allow you, like whenever you write these things, it will allow you to do it. But once you click on enter or once you click on save data, it will throw an error saying that the an entry already exists in the system with this relationship because 12345 is already there in my system, right? So this becomes my incorrect entry. So this final thing becomes my incorrect entry. This final record becomes my incorrect entry here. This is how your primary key concept will work. So clear guys, or anyone has any doubts? Okay. Okay. So let's quickly summarize on what we've discussed today. Let me just see if the connection is working. It's still not working. Okay. Right, no problem. So first, we've seen the shortcuts of the T codes. So wherein the first extension was /n plus our T code name. So whenever we give /n, so the current session. So if this is my current session, the session that you are seeing right now, this will be replaced with a new session, right? So for example, if I'm doing this, I got a new session here, right? I got a new PPT here without closing my existing one, right? This is still there, but this is a new session. So to have this kind of relationship, like to have this kind of functionality, we will use /o. create new session without terminating existing session. We will use /o. But to replace this session with a new one, then we will use /n. Right? This is the two primary difference between /n and /o. Then finally we'll have /n-ex. So in this we will not give any T code name as an extension, but we'll directly give /n-ex. So after which the system will log out from all our existing sessions, and the logon will be terminated by using /n-ex. Then we have seen, so with this, again, we've completed our introduction. So we'll be sharing you the documentation of the first chapter, that is the introduction to ERP. So we request you to go through that, and if you are having any doubts in the documentation, we can discuss that in the upcoming classes. Then with data dictionary, we are starting our new chapter, which was the chapter 2. So the first concept in data dictionary was database table. So table is nothing but an object which is used to store our data in a tabular column, in a tabular format inside my database, right? So that is the purpose of my database table. So in ECG systems, we have three types of tables, that is a transparent table, cluster table, and pooled table. Whereas in HANA system, all my three categories of tables are combined into one category, that is only transparent tables. Why? Because pooled and cluster tables are messy. Like there are very confusing tables, wherein there are many times wherein resources were confused, like how the data was being extracted from these tables, how to make this relationship work, etc., etc. It's very complex thing. So that's the reason these two are decommissioned completely, and we will only have transparent tables now. So in transparent tables, we will have one-to-one relationship. That means whatever the data that I'm seeing in my screen in this table will be the same in my database also, right? So if I'm having 10 entries in the table, in database also it will have only 10 entries. It will not have 15 entries. But whereas your cluster and pooled tables will act differently. If I'm seeing 10 entries in my table, then in database it might only have 5 entries, or it might have 15 entries, it might have 20 entries, but I'm only seeing 10 entries. So this is the problem with my cluster and pooled tables. It will not have a same relationship between my database to the table. Then the most important concept while creating of the table, that is selecting unique and non-unique key fields. So this is a, see, it's an important concept. It's an easy concept when we actually create tables in the SAP system. This is a very pretty simple concept. We just need to check one checkbox, which is primary checkbox. Once you check that, it will become a primary key field. It will not be complex when you actually do it in the system, right? So first, unique key fields are these key fields, though the ones that I've highlighted here. So this blue one, this is called as a unique key field. So the purpose of my unique key field is it will not allow the system to have a duplicate entry in the system, right? So that means all the fields that are there in my system will be unique, will be different. So for example, if there is a employee number 12345, I cannot add another employee with the same employee number because it is already existing. Although the first, second, gender, mail ID or this particular record are different. So like other than first column or my four columns are different here, right? But even still, system will only check this one column only, whether it's repeating or not, because only this is my primary key. If I'm making only one field primary key, it will only check this, if it's primary or not. Since it's primary and it's repeating, it will give an error that an entry already exists in the system. Kindly, create a new entry or kindly change your entry. Then non-unique key fields or primary primary fields can be repetitive. Like here, if you see, Rahul was repeated 3 times, Sharma was repeated 2 times, gender was repeated multiple times. So like this, even the mail ID can be repeated as a matter of fact. So if I want to put another 123 here, I can put it, right? Because two people, same mail ID, you can have it here because this is a non-key field. Again, this is a non-key field, so you can put it. So this in general is how the unique and non-unique relationship works. So by tomorrow our server will be ready. So we'll be able to log into our SAP system, and I'll show you exactly all the things that you've seen till now. I'll show you how to create a package. I'll show you how to create a TR. I'll show you how to create a table. All these things like whatever we have seen theoretically, I'll show you practically in that server. So yeah, again reminding you people. So if you haven't completed your registration yet, please complete your enrollment or registration, because that will give you full access to these recordings, full access to all the documentation, detailed documentation, full access to the server throughout your course time. It can also be extended as per your wish, right? So anyone has any doubts regarding the subject or in general? Yeah, Vamshi.
Sujit, a couple of questions. One is like about the session, and the other one is like a general, like how can I get access to the documentation?
We'll be
Question.
sharing that to you. So once your enrollment is completed, no? So we'll share you. So once a
Okay,
topic
it's
is
already
complete,
completed.
oh, it's already completed for you. So then
Yeah.
fine. I'll advise the institute team to send the documentation to you.
Okay. And the couple of things about the session is like there is a limit to the maximum number of sessions which you can open in SAP, like
Correct. Yeah,
8
yeah, correct.
sessions.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
six
eight.
actually. So you cannot
Oh,
create more than 6 sessions in parallel.
okay. 6 sessions in
Yeah.
parallel.
So I wanted to show you
Okay.
that in system, but since you asked, I'm telling you. So six is the maximum
Okay.
number of sessions that you can open.
Okay. And this about the primary key. The primary key is also a combination of more than one field, isn't it?
Correct. It is
It
more than one
need not
field, but I
necessarily
don't
be one.
want. Correct, correct.
Ah,
See,
okay.
the reason I took only one is because I don't want to overburden you with
Okay.
multiple key fields relationship on the same day. So first we'll see this.
Uh-huh.
So once we are familiarized with this concept, I'll show you how multiple key fields will work.
Okay, multiple and secondary keys. Okay.
Yeah, secondary keys and all. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I don't want to go ahead of it. Okay.
Okay.
That's it then. Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay then. If not, thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. So the next class is gonna be on Monday. Because Saturday and Sunday are holidays for us. So we'll regroup back again on Monday morning. So happy weekend, everyone. Thank you.